Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 15. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash, and double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. And I just wanted to go into a quick lesson here. Just another heads up that through the Spirit, I was watching a video that one of the brothers had put up, I believe it was earlier today. And it was going into another one of those foiled so-called T attacks. All right, I forget exactly what state this was in, but just like recent days, you've been hearing all this, just all of a sudden you have all the narrative of the sleeper cells, right? Which, there's a lot of narratives coming out on that, but we saw how over the past 4.5 years, they allowed people to go through the border and to give an excuse for Trump to come in and say, oh, border's not safe, we need to make it safe, so now we're going to have to come in with all these new rules, right? And also usher in their police state, right? Their visa exit entry system. Okay, that is all part of that totalitarian state that we've been warning about for all these years that will hit America, Babylon the Great. For so long, people weren't able to see that because they believed in this concept of the Constitution. Okay, it's just a concept. It's just a piece of paper. It's not really a thing that you could call on is going to do something for you. As a matter of fact, it's just a piece of paper that people always have to band together to defend. Okay, you have to defend those so-called freedoms that you have per your constitutional rights. Okay, you have to defend that at some point in time. And right now is the time for Americans. Well, I should say the time for Americans to fight for that Constitution. All right, it's passed. Okay, so now that your government is the one who is preaching, all right, that they're the only ones that could protect you and that they have to create this surveillance state to protect you and keep your cities safe, and you went along with it. Well, now it's time to pay and reap what you sowed. Okay, and as the scripture says that a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right, that's also going into, of course, you have the violence that's going to be all around. All right, so because of fear, people are not going to want to go outside, because you being outside, you endanger yourself. But also, by going outside when you're not permitted to go outside, right, you could face problems. You could face maybe run into a bunch of troops or run into some form of robot dogs or drones or something. That if you're being spotted doing something you're not supposed to be doing, you're going to be brought in and questioned and persecuted pretty much. All right, this is the times that we're entering into, where everything you say can be used against you and will be used against you. All right, to the point where some of us are going to be arrested on false charges, but we're still going to be arrested because the scriptures tell you that's a prophecy. All right, some of us are going to be cast into prison and so on and so forth, man. All right, so we're living in the times that leads to that. Okay, now I typed in Hexeth Quick Response Team by April. Okay, because back in I believe it was like in the fall of last year, he had requested that every state should have a quick response team ready, all right, by April of this year. And, we were, kind of like speculating what could possibly be the reason for that. And now, once the smoke clears, we'll see exactly what the reason was. But while the smoke is still being visible, right, we could see what they're about to bring out, which is push a narrative that America is not safe, that you have lone wolf T attacks, various states getting attacked all at the same time, all at once, right, which calls for a quick response team that never goes away. Okay, it never goes away. And also, too, they might be preparing for the backlash of this whole Iranian-Israel war. Okay, so people, for the most part, the American people are not with this shit. And a lot of people have woken up to the point where even if they were to pull a so-called false flag, it's still not going to convince the people that, oh yeah, Iran did this and we have to go to war, because a lot of information is out that Iran is not the problem. Israel is the problem. And a lot of people, especially in America right now, the whole concept of the anti-Sem is out the roof right now. Completely. Because everybody's against these Israelis and their tactics, dragging America into a war that most Americans don't want to be a part of. You broke a whole Marine's arm because he spoke out against, going to war against Iran on behalf of Israel. You see? And apparently there's a lot of the troops that are, they echo the same sentiments, that this is not, a righteous war. We're not fighting for our constitution. We're going to war on behalf of Israel. We're protecting it. And they're openly saying this shit. You see? So you're going to have mutiny in the military. That's why they had that whole meeting in Quantico last fall. Okay? To get them prepared to pledge allegiance to fight for Israel. We said that was going to happen. Okay? So let's read this. It says, Pete Hegseth has overseen plans for the establishment of National Guard Quick Reaction Forces trained in crowd control and civil unrest response, with a goal for these units to be deployed in all 50 states by April 2026. So the Quick Reaction Forces are supposed to be trained for what? For crowd control and civil unrest. So do they know something that we don't know? Are they gonna artificially manufacture something that causes people to bug out, to react in a way where they're gonna have to have National Guard Quick Reaction Forces in the streets? Right? And our Passover is on April 1st. So it's very interesting that this is all set up for April. Who knows what the month of April is gonna bring? But they started this war, geopolitically and foreign. I believe the month of April starts when the war comes domestic, where the government is going to start pushing against its people. Why? Because people are not with what the government is doing right now. They might have to shift their attention a little bit. Okay, up the ante, so to speak. It says, an internal Pentagon memo dated October 8, 2025, directed the National Guard in each state and territory to form rapid response units of approximately 500 troops per state, totaling around 23,500 personnel. Units and training, it says. Troops are to be trained in riot baton and shield use, tasers, pepper spray, and de-escalation techniques. Each state is to receive 100 set of crowd control equipment and 2 full-time trainers from the National Guard Bureau. The program aims to have forces operational by January 1st, 2026, with full deployment readiness expected by April 2026. Expected to be fully deployed for readiness. Okay, readiness expected by April 2026. That's next month. They weren't expected by the end of January. We passed January already. They weren't expected by February. They weren't expected by March, but they were expected in April. Okay. Let's read. Legal and political context. It says this initiative fulfills an executive order issued by President Donald Trump in August 2025, mandating a standing National Guard Quick Reaction Force for rapid nationwide deployment. While the White House claims the force is intended to restore public safety, critics like Janessa Goldbeck of the Vet Voice Foundation warn it could be used to suppress elections or override state authority, especially in states with Democratic governors. Hegseth's response says, when questioned in October 2025, Hegseth did not deny the memo's existence, stating he would not comment on particulars on what may be in the planning process, but affirmed the existence of multiple layers of National Guard response forces that can be constitutionally deployed when necessary. Okay, and this is all pretty much the building up of the police state. We've been warning about a police state that's being built over the years. This is how it happens, man. We set up a quick reaction force team that gets deployed upon a moment's notice, and then they never leave, because the reason why they're being brought out there is just so indefinite and uncertain that it could happen at any time. We need to have security at all times. Okay, sleeper cells. That's a great example to use. Okay, that's a nice way to set this shit up. Sleeper cells. They're all throughout the whole entire country. They could go off at any moments, at any time. We need to make sure that we have our battalion ready. Okay, to be deployed in all 50 states. All 50 states. And you know what I think of? I think of Jade Helm. Okay, I think of Jade Helm. This is where it starts. Okay, I think of very soon, April. We got April. So what's gonna happen from, let's say something was to go down in April, right? You got May, you got June, you got July. May 1st is May Day. May Day, Illuminati birthday. All right, 1776 to 2026, May Day, May 1st, right? And then July 4th is America's so-called birthday. Okay, so that's 3 months from April. You got April, May, June, July, 3 months. Okay, so who's to say? All right, and then you got, let's not forget June, right? June 6, 2026. You got the 666 in there. Okay, America's 250th birth. All these different things, right? It makes sense for them to start some shit, all right, and then bring it in, usher in the new currency, the new system. Okay, have people bug out all summer long, and then right around the fall, you start to introduce this new currency, this new way of doing things. Okay, they already took out the old Fed chairman, Jerome Powell. They replaced him. All right, the new guy that came in, he's all for that cryptocurrency shit. He's all for that digital currency stuff. Okay, so who's to say? Who knows how this thing is going to play out? But this is very, very suspicious. All right, to set up a quick response team, all right, to be deployed in all 50 states by April, and their main purpose is to be trained for crowd control and civil unrest. What do they got? What they got that we don't? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Is it finally the time? Right? Is it finally the time? So going back to 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14 says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." Why? It's the same sentiments that was echoed by John the Revelator in Revelation 12. Okay, that the devil has come down upon you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. You see what's going on in Iran. You see what happened in Gaza. Same thing is going to be happening here in America. And man, people going to be like, I can't believe the president is doing this to his own country. Yes, because they're against his policies. They'll just label them anti-Sem. They'll label them domestic teas. They'll label them opposing Democrats, right? Radicalized, whatever. But they will demonize American citizens to be able to be justified in killing them openly. Okay? Just like how they've demonized Iran, same thing they're going to do to Americans. You stand on Iran's side, because all the stuff that's going on is setting up the stage for TTID. Tag, trace, and identify. Everything that people say online, everything you're watching, they're recording all of that. And they're setting you up on the red list, the blue list, and the yellow list. Once martial law is enacted, because it sounds like they're trying to pull some shit starting in April. Okay, who knows if they're going to do it then or make it, linger just a little bit to build up the hype or whatever. But to be able to deploy military units, all right, in all 50 states starting in April. Hey, okay, who knows? But the stage is definitely set for something to go down. All right, verse 15, 2 Ezra 15 and 15 says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh." All right, and we see the sword, all right, being embellished, all right, with this whole Iran situation. Okay, it says, "And one people shall stand up and fight against another," right? That's a civil war. Isaiah 19 tells you that. It says, "And swords in their hands," those are weapons. Okay, predominantly here in America, you're going to have people with guns. All right, goons. So it says, verse 16 says, "For there shall be sedition among men." Ooh, and what's going on right now geopolitically is setting up the stage for sedition. You got a lot of people who are not with what Trump is doing. Even people in MAGA, like for example, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she'll be considered somebody who's could be arrested on charges of sedition, right? Because she's saying this is not the party that I voted for. We need to band together and stop this. Where's the outrage? Like somebody like what's his name? Gerald Celente, right? I listen to him a lot. Him and Judge Napolitano, right? They talk about these things, and they have the old school way of thinking. That's not going to work in a New World Order. Okay, so everyone who has the old school way of thinking, that's not going to work. They're going to have to find a way to eliminate that. That starts from the Bible, because that's where the morals start. That's where the good starts. That's where we questioning their motives, their so-called morals or lack thereof, their reasons for doing things. It's all going to be judged based on what the scriptures say. And they can't have that. Okay? They can't have that. Remember, the New World Order, it says expect no mercy. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't even look for it. They're coming for your women, your children, the old, the young. It doesn't matter. Because that's what the Lord said he's going to do per Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, the 4th verse on down. Okay? Spare none. And the perfect vessel to be the one the Lord is going to use to fulfill that is Esau Edom. All right? They've done it before. They're doing it now. And they're going to even step it up even more to do more later on. Okay? It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, right? They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So the law is not going to dictate the actions of people anymore. In other words, Ezra just talked about a lawless society. Okay? What is called, what's that phrase? Anarchy. All right, that's the word, anarchy. That's a state without law. Okay? Anything goes. The concept of being in a purge, right? But this time you have the government also being a part of it. Okay? It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right, when you have all that chaos going on, right? You got people right now in the Middle East, they're sheltering. They're not going out to go sit at a club or go to a open dining hall or a rooftop building just to go chill. No. You might be, you know what I'm saying, you're never coming back type shit. All right? They're going to blast you right off the face of the earth, man. You know what I'm saying? You wait till that shit start hitting here in America. Different cities, different states. Man, it's about to be crazy. Okay? A time like never before indeed, man. All right? Americans are about to be shook. Shook. Those who don't have any clue what's going on. I was telling my brother earlier, I said, expect, the dams to be affected. Of course, expect modes of transportation. So you cause enough panic, right? Expect some type of bridges to be going down or some type of compromise to the bridges. That's enough to scare people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine some type of crazy shit happens in a tunnel, right? And you on a bridge inside the tunnel and they're telling you there's an explosive somewhere. We need to find it. Everybody stop. Boy, look at here. You know? But this is good because it's part of the hysteria that they have to create in order to be justified in bringing in their new surveillance state. Because if we had that surveillance state, then these things wouldn't have happened, right? So it's a very easy way for them to do it. And again, it's all problem, reaction, solution. When you know the playbook, none of these things happen by surprise. It's all happening step by step by step by step. Okay? It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Okay, and quite literally. Okay, you got people in the pride community. All right. And also you got people who are proud in spirit. Okay. They follow after the ways of DJT. They think, people really think America is invincible. I don't know why you would think that. I just don't. But people really think that. When the Americans themselves are not invincible, how the hell is the country going to be invincible? This is the weakest America has ever been. Void of judgment, void of that. They're reprobates. Okay. They're void of any morals. This is it's called the valley of the shadow of death for a reason. All right. That city, that dark, dirty, bloody city, man. Okay. And that's what's described, all right, in the book of Nahum. All right. That woe unto you, all right, you bloody city, man. All right. The Lord is going to require and avenge all the blood that you've shed, especially that of the Israelites. You got the all the blood that's on your hands, with these other nations. But the ones that you touched, that is the Lord's eye, the apple of the Most High's eye. That's where he's going to come after you, man. Okay? That's when he's going to come after you. Have you ever seen a hen with her chickens? Listen, man. Whew. It says, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. People are about to lose their 401k, their savings, their pension plans, all of that. Even the money in their banks, your savings, all that shit is going to be wiped away clean. That's going to piss people off. Okay, that's what's going to cause people to turn on each other. Because a simple narrative, if you're a Republican, oh, it's the Democrats that did it. If you're a Democrat, oh, it's the Republicans. You see what they've done? Boom, go at each other. It's the Democratic cities that's facing this the most. Oh, it's the Republicans' policies that's causing all this to happen. Boom. It says for lack of bread. So can we see grocery stores being emptied out? Well, scripture says it. Suddenly shall the storehouses be found empty. Okay? Scripture talk about famines in diverse places. So yeah, because of what? For lack of bread is a sign of famine. You don't got the bread, right? The physical bread that you're going to have to go eat food, and you don't have the money to go buy the food even if it was available. That's a problem. That is a sign of economic turmoil. That's what that's talking about. Lack of bread is another way of saying economic turmoil, man. Okay? Food scarcities. That happens when you have an economic turmoil. Look what happened to Egypt. All right, ancient Egypt during the time of Joseph. It got so bad that people had to sell themselves to Egypt, to Joseph. Okay? So we could get some food, we're going to sell ourselves. That's exactly the plan Esau has to pull off this MOTB prophecy. Okay? Take away everything from the people, and then in order for them to get anything back, they have to pledge this allegiance. Okay? Give us your right hand or your forehead, and then we could talk business. All right? So this is the plan of these devils. This is what they're planning to bring out. And this year, 2026, is gonna go out with a bang. All right, it's gonna go out with a bang. Like I said early in the year, the MOTB will be mainstream by the end of this year. You're gonna start seeing it. You're gonna start hearing companies start moving towards it. You're gonna start seeing big corporations working together and bringing it out just like that. You're gonna see countries around the world start to bring it into life. Okay, and then last but not least, you're going to see America start implementing a lot of these things until it becomes mandatory. It's going to lead all the way to, if we're still here in 2027, you're going to see this thing play out. Okay, because all the technological infrastructure is there. All that's left is for them to bring it out, and that's it. But for them to bring it out, they need that one event or multiple of those one events. And we're going to be there. We're going to be there, man. So just look out. You know, they say in April, right? Get ready for the quick response teams. All right, starting in April. So who knows? Who knows, man? All right, but again, they've had this stuff documented for years, ready to go. All right, but at the appropriate time, it's going to play out. All right, let's get this last precept here, and then we're going to close it out. All right, it's beautiful times that we're in. Like finally, you're seeing these visions playing out. It's a beautiful thing. All right, it's the book of Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And we've been talking about these things for years. Hey, very soon they're going to do this. Very soon they're going to do this. Very soon. People who know us, they've heard it for so long. They just like, yo, bro, you've been saying this every year. But guess what? You know what never, you know what? One thing that never stopped is our faith that is going to happen. If it didn't happen 10 years ago, it didn't happen 9 years ago, it didn't happen 8 years ago, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means we just got to wait for it to happen. But we know it's going to happen. We just don't know when. Okay? And we speak in our vehemency because we want it to happen so bad, right? We hasten on to the coming of the day of our Lord, man. All right? Who doesn't want to do that? If you're in the right spirit, you tired of this place. No matter what you got going on, you tired of this fucking shit, man. It just never ends. It's always one thing after the other. When you think you just got a break, some bullshit just hit you. It just never ends. And we've realized, right, that the only way we get some type of happiness and be able to just breathe a sigh of relief is when this place goes. This place is taken out, man. At that point, we take a deep breath, man. All right. And then now we could just let things unfold after that. But this devil got to go. This kingdom got to go. And it's about to go. Okay. That's all part of the vision that's yet for an appointed time. It says what? But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, right? Though it tarry, wait for it, right? Though it may seem slow in coming, be patient, right? Because it will surely come. It will not tarry. When the time comes, the Lord says, I will open the door for you. Stop coming here to check on the door. I will open it when it's time. And when it's open, you will know. It's loud enough where you could hear again opened. It's big enough for you to see. You're going to walk through that door. And you're going to be like, oh shit, I finally made it through. Wow, I never thought this door would open. It's like, wow, this is crazy. Like, damn, this was behind this door. No wonder it wasn't opening when I was trying to open it. Right? It comes with a whole bunch of shit. Because it's the end. Okay? It's the end. As is written, a time like never before. All right? So prepare, and keep praying, man. Pray. Pray to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai for mercy, for guidance, for protection in the days that we're coming into, man. All right? Because as is written, surely the days are evil. Anyway, I'm ended off there, Lord, when you're edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Ruach HaKodesh, the water Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.